Welcome back to All About Winning Daily Fantasy Sports. My name is Ty Patton. Hopefully, your Sunday has been profitable up to this point, but if not, never fear, the Sunday Night Football Showdown contest is here. Tonight's Showdown contest features the 5-4 Los Angeles Rams hosting the 4-5 Chicago Bears. The Rams have been installed as a 6-point home favorite, and the over-under is 39.5 points. This game has playoff implications for both teams early in the season as they struggle to remain relevant in the playoff picture. Before we unpack this game, I want to share the numbers that are most fantasy relevant to the Showdown contest itself. Up to and including this past Thursday night's helmet game between the Cleveland Browns and Pittsburgh Steelers, there have been 70 Showdown contests. These Showdown contests have an average winning score of 133.10, and the average winning captain score is 43.13 points. Because the captain's position represents approximately 31% of the overall average winning score, I focus a lot of my attention to the captain's position. With this being said, the captain's position breaks down as follows. The underdog running back has been in the captain's spot for the winning lineup more than any other team, any other position, 16 times for 23%. The favorite quarterback has been in the captain's spot for the winning lineup 12 times for 17%. The favorite wide receiver has been in the captain's spot for the winning lineup 11 times for 16%. The favorite running back has been in the captain's spot for the winning lineup 9 times for 13%, and the underdog wide receivers have been in the captain's spot for the winning lineup 9 times for 13%. The underdog or the favorite defensive special teams has been in the captain's spot for the winning lineup 5 times for 7%. And the underdog quarterback has been in the captain's spot for the winning lineup 4 times for 6%. The underdog kicker has been in the captain's spot for the winning lineup 2 times for 3%. The underdog tight end has been in the captain's spot for the winning lineup 1 time for 1%. And the favorite tight end has been in the captain's spot for the winning lineup 1 time for 1%. I further break the captain's position down by combining positions, which breaks down as follows. Running backs have combined for more to be in the winning lineup for the captain's position more than any other position 25 times, which equals 36%, so over a third. Wide receivers have combined to be the captains for the winning lineup 20 times for 29%. Quarterbacks have combined for 16 times, which equals 23%. All others represent 9 times for 13%. Another relevant number to the captain's position is the straight-up win-loss record of the winning captain's position. The overall straight-up record for the captain's position is 48 wins and 22 losses and breaks down as follows. Running backs are 20-5 straight up in the captain's position. Wide receivers, there's virtually no difference. They're 10-10 straight up. Quarterbacks are 11-5, and the defense special teams are 5-0. So if you're going to use a defense special team in the captain's spot, make sure you're using the defense that you think is going to win the game. And out of those 5, 3 of them have been the New England Patriots. You may wonder, what does these numbers have to do with tonight's Bears-Rams games? And seriously, actually nothing. No, I'm just kidding. For me, these numbers reveal that there are a lot of correlations that point to building your lineups around the captain from the team that you feel will win the game. My process includes this correlation, and I like to build my showdown lineup by first taking a stand about who's going to win the game. Next, who are the players that are going to be the path to victory for this team? How are they going to get there? How are they going to win the game? Then I narrow those players down to a top couple that could be the potential high-scoring players in the game. And then I build my lineup around my captain's position. A lot of times, if I use a quarterback in the captain spot, I want a couple of his targets in the flex spot. If I have a wide receiver in the captain spot, a lot of times I want to use the quarterback in a flex, just the correlation. The only way the wide receiver is going to go off is if the quarterback gets him the ball. So I use that correlation a lot. It's important to develop a game script and build around this. If you get the game script and the captain spot right, that's half of the battle. In tonight's game, I believe the Rams are going to win because there are a lot of mismatches in their favor. The Bears defense is not the vaunted defense of years past. They're a lot better on against the pass. They do get pressure on the quarterback, but they have a DVP rating of number 24 versus the run. So With that being said, Gurley comes into play. Now, perhaps the biggest mismatch on this whole game is the matchup between Cooper Kupp in the slot versus Buster Skrine, who, if he's one of the worst, if not the worst, slot defensive back in the NFL. This is a complete mismatch. And what I'm hoping tonight is Kupp is coming off a horrible game last week against Pittsburgh. He was targeted 4 times, didn't get any receptions, got a big fat 0. I know I had him in a few of my lineups. And I'm hoping that will drive some of his ownership down. Plus, if you look at the opponent rank versus the wide receiver position, it's a little bit misleading because it takes in consideration their whole defense as a whole versus the pass, and the Bears are number 6 versus the pass. But Buster Skrine gives up a lot, and I believe that the Rams will use Cooper Kupp to open up the running game for Gurley. And a lot of people are afraid to use Gurley because they think that he's not getting the lion's share of carries, and he splits carries with Brown and Henderson, and he does. But the truth is, he is getting a lot of touches and a huge percentage of the snaps, overall snaps. So I have a lot of interest in Gurley as well. On the other side of the ball, the Bears are their pass defenses or offense is led by Allen Robinson. He has a matchup that on paper looks to be pretty intimidating against Jalen Ramsey, but Ramsey's been very disappointing since he came over to the Rams, and I'm not really worried about that matchup for him. I do worry that the Rams are going to get pressure on Trubisky, and Trubisky has been absolutely horrible this year, and that could affect getting the ball to Robinson. Obviously, David Montgomery has a questionable tag. It's going to go right up to game time decision for him. But if he's out, I actually have more interest in Tariq Cohen, not because of running the ball between the tackles, but I believe they're going to try to get the ball to him out in space and slow down that Rams rush, screen plays, and he can take it. He can take it the distance. So those are the 2 players that I'm really interested in for the Bears. I feel like the Rams defense will get pressure on Trubisky, could possibly cause some mistakes, put the Bears in comeback mode. This game does have a really low game total, which you temper some of your expectations for the some of the offensive players. But I'm going to build my lineup around what I believe the Rams are going to try to do. They're going to try to build a lead, and they're going to try to do it through the passing game. Cooks is out for the Rams again. And another thing, Everett, he does get the tight end for the Rams, does get a large target share, but the Bears are kind of stingy versus the Bears are actually number 29 versus the tight end position. So some of those targets could go Everett's way, but I feel like the biggest mismatch again is going to be Cooper Kupp, and that's who I'm going to put in my captain spot. This is PPR, and those targets and receptions add up to points really fast, especially when you're getting 1.5 times for a reception. Cooper Kupp is the most expensive on this slate at 15.9, but I think he does have a path to get to what the average winning captain score is. You need to get right around 28, 29 actual points, which is 9 receptions, 100 yards on a touchdown, and I feel like Kupp can get there. He's going to get a huge amount of targets in this game, and I mean he, except for last week, he's had 10 targets, 8 targets, 6 targets, 17 targets at Seattle, 15 targets at home against Tampa Bay, 12 targets against Cleveland. So he's getting targeted a ton, and I'm not going to pass up that opportunity. I am going to have him in my captain spot. So without further ado, this is the lineup that I've been working on, and I'll talk about it when I get done, and then I'll show you an optimized lineup that I generated. So I have Cooper Kupp in the captain spot. Now, as I mentioned, a lot of times if I have a wide receiver in the captain spot, I want the quarterback in the flex. I'm going to do it a little bit different tonight. I want some exposure to Gurley because I think Cup will open things up for Gurley. And I think Gurley will be lower owned because of some recency bias, and I want to have some exposure to him. After Cup and Gurley, I want Zerline. Zerline is an absolute stud at the kicker position. Big leg. Now with the kickers and defensive special teams, a lot of times I only want to use one of the four. In this particular lineup, I'm doing a little bit different, but I definitely want to have. I feel like this way I have exposure to the a lot of the various ways that the Rams can score, and then I'm going to shore that up by using the Rams defense in case they get some type of defensive score. I do feel like they'll get to Trubisky in this game and might force some errors. So that's the Rams part of it. I'm going to bring that back with the two biggest pieces of the Bears. Robinson, not crazy about his matchup with Ramsey, but as I mentioned, Ramsey has been very disappointing. So, and if they're behind, they're going to have to get the ball to Robinson. He is a target monster, and I'm just looking for volume in this particular position. And that leaves me 5,900, and I'm going to go to Tariq Cohen. So I feel like those are the two biggest pieces of the Bears offense. It's real risky to fade both quarterbacks, but I really like this this lineup because I feel like it covers a lot of the angles for scoring. And I just wanted to check this note on Cohen. Cohen could be in store for a heightened roll out of the backfield Sunday against the Rams with starter David Montgomery viewed as a game time decision. And I think they're actually leaning towards Montgomery being out. Now, if Montgomery's in, I might change that. I'm going to have to wait till about 7 o'clock to see what I'm going to do with that. If Montgomery's out, I'm leaving this as it is, and I will be entering this. And I don't have the correlation with Cup with golf, but I wanted to have Gurley in there. That's I left 900 on the table. That's not a bad thing in a showdown contest. It means it's just a little bit contrarian. I've seen something that the average winning lineup is leaving just a little bit over $1,000 on the table. So that's not a bad thing. I feel like I've covered a lot of the Rams scoring angles, and I really like this build. I haven't built one like this year. I usually have a quarterback in there somewhere, sometimes double quarterbacks, but I feel like I can get it done this way. And actually, I do have exposure to the quarterbacks, Cup, and then I have Robinson and Cohen, and so I do have exposure just in a different way. So that's the lineup that I'm going to be entering when I like. If you decide to enter in a contest that I'm in, up here, this Cowboy Fan 215, and we win, we'll be splitting. I've never won a showdown contest. I have cashed in a lot. The last 3 or 4, I've had a lot more luck in the showdown than I have in any other contest, and they've actually saved my day a few times. So I like to take the players that I like and use an optimizer that I utilize from a website that I've subscribed to. I set it to 150 lineups, and I put a couple rules in there, like I've already mentioned, like if quarterback is in the captain, I want a couple of his targets. Wide receiver and captain, I want his quarterback in the flex, which is obviously different from the lineup I just showed you. I generally like to only use one of the 4 between the 2 special teams and 2 field goal kickers. Field goal kickers offer a safer floor, but they've been really popular in the winning lineup so far this year, and actually been in the winning captain spot 5 times. As I mentioned, 3 times was the New England Patriots. So I put a few limitations as far as exposure. Like I don't want 100% exposure to any player. Tonight I did put a 70% exposure to Cooper Kupp because I want him in virtually all my lineups. I don't believe he'll be shut down. And then I just let it go. And usually it generates a lineup that I'm excited to put in some type of contest. I don't MME. I mean, I don't do 150 lineups. I would if I could. I'm just not in the position to do that. So I don't have anything against the guys that can do it. And if I'm ever in the position to do it, I will be doing it. It just makes sense, and it's a business decision. But I did build a few different lineups, and I enter them in, a few different contests. I could take a shot at a few of the larger GPPs. I know that's not necessarily the way to go as far as return on investment, but I like to do that. I like my shot at $250,000, and I feel like I got just as good a shot as anybody else. But with that being said, tonight's lineup was a little bit different and surprising to me. And I always show you the first one that's generated. So I'm going to show you that one, and then I'm going to show you another one that I liked a little bit more. Just this one was, it was very interesting, and you'll see what I mean as I put it together for you. It had Trubisky in the captain spot, Zerline at kicker, Tariq Cohen in the flex spot, Todd Gurley in the flex spot, Allen Robinson, a target to go with Trubisky, and Cooper Kupp in the flex spot. Left $100 on the table, so it's not, I guess it's not really that contrarian, but it's just totally against the way that I feel like this game's going to go. Now, if something happens, Gurley dominates, but isn't the highest scoring player, but between Gurley and Kupp, they have just kind of some balanced scoring and build a lead that way. Some of their drives end up with field goals, and then Trubisky's got to come back in comeback mode. This lineup would make sense for that game script. It's not really the game script that I have in mind, but I always show you the first one. Here it is. When I seen it, I felt like this is definitely contrarian. This is definitely one you could use in a large GPP, and probably not many people are going to have the same one. And if you follow the game script of it, I mean, anything can happen. We don't know, what's going to happen for sure. And then the numbers and everything that we use them just to give us an edge and to help us predict. The biggest predictor of the future is the past, and that's what we do with numbers. So, but a little bit different than what I usually do, since I felt like that one was so very ugly. I'm going to show you the second one that was generated. And it was not much better, but a little different. Tariq Cohen, sorry about that. Tariq Cohen in the captain spot. Jared Goff in a flex spot. Todd Gurley in a flex spot. Cooper Kupp in a flex spot. Anthony Miller and Robinson. So this is having a lot of exposure to the Bears passing game. Obviously, if they think they're going to get behind because Goff's going to pick them apart using Kupp, and then seal off the drives with Gurley, build up a lead. Tariq Cohen's catching some passes out of the backfield, maybe buffs a long one. This is a little bit contrarian. I mean, I like to use captains from teams that I feel like are going to win the game. This would either that that game script or the game script of coming back. But then you could go to the very first one that I showed you with Trubisky in comeback mode and throwing the ball all over the place and getting some garbage time points. And because time points are just as valuable as regular game time points. Remember that. So this left 1,700 on the table, and this was just a second. And my optimizer, I don't cut out too many players on the Showdown because it's only one game and there's not many players to choose from. I don't use a lot of the turds down below because you're hoping that one of them just gets somehow one target and falls in the end zone. And sometimes that works out for people. I've used them in the past. I've gotten zeros and then I've gotten rewarded by doing it. But this right here gives you exposure to a lot of the pieces of the game that are going to be involved in the game. So there you go. That about sums up tonight's Showdown contest. I want to thank you for joining me. I hope this information is of some use to you and that you can put it to use and build some winning lineups. Look for me in any contest you're in. Again, the Cowboy Fan 215 up here, that's me. But I would encourage you, if you want to please post any comments or opinions below. I like to read them. I like to see what other people's takes are on games. I appreciate you guys following me and giving me your time. The guys that have subscribed, I really appreciate that. Those subscriptions have been trending upward, and that's a good sign. And I want to build this channel and do some things, and trying to make it a lot better for you guys. If you would do me a favor and please share this video, like it, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get notified when my next video posts. I'd really appreciate it. That helps me out a ton. And I will be posting a Monday Night Football Showdown video between the Chiefs and Chargers for tomorrow early in the afternoon. So good luck tonight. I'll see you tomorrow afternoon with Monday Night Football Showdown contest. Hope to hear that some of you win tonight, and I'll see you then. My name is Ty Patton. This is all about winning daily fantasy sports. Have a good evening.